Good evening. It is I, Mumm-Ra, the ever-living source of evil. To comply with my community service sentence after my necromancy prank, I am required to read a wholesome Christmas story for all of you. Which, personally, I think is a crime itself. If people tell me that my monologuing can raise the dead, then I think demonstrating what that looks like is a mere correction. Nevertheless, if I don't do this, I'll have those wretched thundercats breathing down my neck, so grab a warm drink and a snack while I regale you with the story of how Skeletor stole Christmas. Everyone down in Eternia liked Christmas a lot, but Skeletor, who lived on Snake Mountain, did not. Skeletor hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be the goat head wasn't screwed on his staff just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating these fools, staring down from his lair with a sour, evil frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town, for he knew everyone in the kingdom beneath was busy right now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled, with his bony fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow, he knew, all the Eternian girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, oh, the noise. Noise, noise, noise. That's one thing he hated. The noise. Noise, noise, noise. Then they all, young and old, would sit around to a feast. And they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. Feast, feast, feast. They would feast on their pudding and rare Bundus roast beast, which was something Skeletor couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Everyone in the kingdom, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the fools would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. Sing, sing, sing. And the more Skeletor thought of this foolish Christmas sing, the more Skeletor thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 40 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. Skeletor got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The sorcerer laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat. And he chuckled and chuckled.
What a great wicked trick! With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The fiend looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old villain? No! Skeletor simply said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his cat Panther, and he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up the old cat. Then Skeletor said, Get up, and the sleigh started down towards the homes where the people lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All of them were all dreaming, sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square,
This is stop number 1.
the old Skellyclaws hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fists. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could this Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings
He grinned.
are the first things to go.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. He stuffed them in bags, then Skeletor very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the fool's feasts. He took all the pudding, he took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that demon even took their last can of spoo hash. Yeah. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now
Grinned the monster.
I will stuff up the tree.
And then Skeletor grabbed the tree, and he started to shove, when he heard the small sound like a coo of a dove. He turned around fast and saw a small child. Little Star Child, which canonically is a bit wild. Skeletor had been caught by this tiny magical daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at Skeletor and said,
Santa Claus, why? Why you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
"But you know that old devil was so smart and so slick. He thought of a lie, and he thought it up quick."
Why, my sweet little tot,
The fake Santa Claus lied.
there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head. He got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. When small Star Child went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was too small even for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to all the other houses, leaving crumbs much too small for all the other mouse. It was 1:15 dawn, all the kingdom still abed, all the people still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up on the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it.
Sucks to be those boobs.
He was evilly humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the fools in the kingdom will all cry, boo-hoo! That's a noise
Grinned the Lord of Destruction.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and he put his hand to his ear. Then he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at the kingdom. Skeletor popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Everyone down in Eternia, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or the other, it came just the same. And Skeletor, with his boots ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler, or so. Then Skeletor thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more.
He thought. And what happened then? Well, in Eternia they say that Skeletor's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't quite feel so tight, he sped with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, Skeletor, carved the roast beast.
I have listened to this nonsense enough. That's not how it happened, and I will not have my reputation slandered. I took their things and set fire to it in the town square, reveling in their sorrow.
Yes, and then what happened?
And then He-Man showed up, and the muscle-bound fool hit me so hard I was in a body cast for 7 months. I had to relearn how to use the bathroom.
Well, I think this story is the less embarrassing one. In a way, my community service is done, and you've embarrassed yourself publicly. It's been a good day.
What? But we're friends. Did you set this up? What treachery is this?
I am literally the ever-living source of evil. Friends or not, I'd sell you to the devil for a corn chip. Happy holidays, you pathetic parasites. I'll see you next year.
Alright, listen, hey, you little put down the tree.
I must stop this whole thing. Sorry, Thomas.